name's Jessica. I'm a psychotherapist and I teach mindfulness. I also teach breathwork and movement, and I incorporate those last three to assist people who experience anxiety, stress and trauma in their lives, in their current life. They experience things that are particularly difficult, or they experience life in a way that doesn't feel quite as comfortable and as relaxed as they might like it to be. And the way that I look at those things is not so much just to sort of manage stress and anxiety and the impact of any traumatic events we might have experienced, not to just sort of manage those moments where we feel really tense or really fearful, or we're sort of struggling to think clearly, but to actually build some resilience so that we can start to feel that we bounce back from stressful or anxiety-provoking situations a little bit more quickly. And a big part of that for me is what's happening in the body. So I think and work quite a lot with the nervous system. And it's quite useful to think of at least a part of the nervous system, the autonomic nervous system, as having two arms. And if you can kind of think of them as muscles, those arms, that we can work out and make really strong and active, or we can leave and they become a little bit weak and floppy. So one arm of the autonomic nervous system is there when we feel stressed and anxious. It fires up, it makes us feel kind of like we're rushing, our heart's racing, we might feel a bit sick, we might have some digestive issues going on, we might find it quite hard to think in a clear way, we might think in quite a fearful way about the world, or we might feel quite disconnected and a bit hopeless and things like that. But that's one arm of the nervous system. And the other arm is the arm of the nervous system that helps us to feel calm and content and connected to ourselves and other people and our environments. And there's a nerve that runs through this half of the nervous system called the vagus. And this is really, really important nerve to know about and to be aware about in your body. So the nerve that the vagus is a lot of people talk about it as a wandering nerve, because it really wanders around the body, and it starts at the sort of back at the base of the brain with the autonomic nervous system, and it runs down, it goes into parts of the ears, it runs down the throat and the heart, it runs into the spleen, the stomach and the whole digestive tract. And I won't talk too much about that today, but the point of the things that I'm teaching, and the breath work and the breathing technique in particular that I'm going to teach today, called Ujjayi Breath, a type of yogic breathing, is that it strengthens this half of the nervous system, and it strengthens and tones your vagus like a muscle. So when you use the half of the nervous system that's there for stress and anxiety all the time, it gets stronger, and the more you use it, the more you use it. But the more you strengthen the other half, the vagal half of that part of the nervous system, the more quickly and easily you return to feeling at a place of rest. And one of the quickest ways and easiest ways actually to sort of strengthen the vagus is through breath work, is through changing the way we breathe. There's a neuroscientist and a man who teaches breath work who I really like, called Ben Wolfe. And he coins this term, the breath is the remote control to the brain. And he sort of says, we're all sitting on the remote control wondering why we're not feeling great, why we're not thinking in useful or positive or bigger, ways. And it makes sense. If we're sitting on the remote control to the brain, it's all over the place, it's going all over the place. But we're not often stopping and thinking about how we breathe and how that might affect our health. So again, I won't go into lots of detail today about how breathing affects our overall health, but it is huge, and it's a really interesting thing to think about and read about and look at. So just for today, I'm going to teach a type of breath it's kind of a noisy breath in the throat. If you've come across it, you've probably come across it, like I say, in a yoga class. And some people call it whisper breathing or ocean breath, because it's got this lovely kind of fluid movement and sound to it. A lot of research shows that this type of breathing, when it's practiced quite slowly and regularly, lowers cortisol, and cortisol is our stress hormone. So we don't want that to be gone, because it does get us going and moving, but we don't want it to be really high, because that's where we start feeling really stressed and that real discomfort and tension that comes with that. So Ujjayi breath can be quite difficult for some people and easier for others, and it's really okay if you struggle with it a little bit. It's just a matter of practice. So I just wanted to kind of show today how that breath works. And sort of the easiest way to start with that breath is to just notice what happens on a noisy out breath. So if you just sort of find a way to sit, if we're going to practice now, and there's lots of things that I could talk about to do with being comfortable and how we sit or lay down when we practice mindfulness and breath work. But just for today, just think about sort of being quite upright. John Kabat-Zinn talks about sitting with dignity, and I always think, so if we sit with dignity, I love this word, we're upright, we're open, but we're not uncomfortable. Because if we were tense or slumped or uncomfortable and in pain in any way, we wouldn't be experiencing ourselves as sort of dignified. So I quite like that idea. Just a quick kind of check-in that you're sitting in a way that feels upright and open. Whether you're sitting on the floor like me, or you're sitting in a chair, it really doesn't matter, or you're laying down. It's really fine. The most important thing is that you feel kind of open in the torso, so there's lots of room for the oxygen to fill your lungs. And you feel comfortable. So there's no pain or discomfort. It's not hard work to sit the way you're sitting. So with that posture, that upright posture, we're just going to breathe in through our nose and just breathe out naturally. And just do that a couple of times, a couple of natural breaths. You might even sigh. Sighing is really, really good for the brain. You might breathe in through the nose. Just make an audible sigh. Just kind of get yourself a little bit more relaxed and comfortable. And so Ujjayi breath, it could be quite useful just to hold your hand up and imagine a piece of glass that we're going to mist. So we're going to breathe in through the nose, and we're going to breathe out through the mouth onto that piece of glass. And that's the sound we're looking for, a little ha sound. Okay, so we're going to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. And it can also be useful just to sort of place your fingertips really gently on this part of the throat here where the voice box is, because there's those two sort of muscles, I think they are, they move and bang together when we're making noise, and when we do Ujjayi breath, they do tense up a little bit. They're not as sort of relaxed and open as they would be if we were just breathing normally. So if you kind of feel, some of us can feel, some of us can't, and that's fine. Just kind of breathing in and then breathing out through the mouth with the noise. With your fingers or internally, can you feel that little sort of slight tension there when you make that noise? And there's something also about kind of enjoying that noise, enjoying that sound that's like the ocean, or like the sound of a shell over your ear when you're a kid at the beach. That lovely sort of movement that I think that's part of the pleasure and the enjoyment of Ujjayi breath, is that it's got this lovely sound that sounds like the ocean moving backwards and forwards with our breathing. So this time we're going to breathe in, and about halfway through your out breath, you're going to try to close the mouth but keep the sound. And just see if that's possible. Just play around with it for a moment. So we're going to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth, closing halfway through, and see if you can keep that noise. So we'll try that a few times together. We'll breathe in through the nose and closing halfway through. See if you can keep the sound. And again. And we'll try with the eyes closed or lowered. And with all of these things, you know, in any class or any video you're watching or any book you're reading or podcast you're listening to, Try to always follow what feels comfortable and safe for you, not necessarily what the person showing you how to do something is saying. So if I say close your eyes, that might feel safe and comfortable for you, or it might not. So you might just lower your eyes a little bit and just look through the eyelashes. But just play around and see what feels safe and comfortable for you. So I'm going to close my eyes, but you lower them if you'd like to. Sometimes I kind of move between the two, which is quite nice. But it's about not having quite as much visual stimuli coming in, which kind of keeps us quite busy. But also that when we kind of reduce the visual stimuli, it makes it easier for us to experience the sound of Ujjayi breath, of really hearing it. Like I say, like that shell on the beach over your ear as a child. So we're going to breathe in together through the nose, and halfway through the out breath, we're going to close our mouth and see if we can keep that sound, okay? With the eyes lowered or closed. So we breathe in through the nose, and out. And in, and out. And 2 more times like that. And I'm hoping if your eyes are closed or lowered, you're starting to really hear that noise of the Ujjayi breath, of that ocean breath, or some people say a little bit like Darth Vader. So if you're a Star Wars fan like me, you'll like that reference. If not, just forget about it. But we're going to practice a few more times, and we're actually going to see if we can close the mouth on the out breath and still keep that sound. And really, this is just having a go. We're just playing. So if it isn't possible to still keep that sound, then by all means keep your mouth open, or do the half open, half closed halfway through. So we're going to breathe in through the nose together and see if we can then keep the sound going on the out breath. And we'll just go for a few breaths. Just have a go. Okay? So we're breathing in and out. In and out. In and out. And just seeing as you keep going. Can you relax the jaw? Can you relax the inside of the mouth and the tongue? Is it possible to let the tongue fall away from the roof of the mouth? And just knowing that no one's watching you, can you allow your face to become completely relaxed, completely motionless? Just a couple more like that. Blinking the eyes open. I also wanted to just sort of see, perhaps we can have a go at seeing what it feels like to make that noise on the in-breath as well. So making the noise on the in-breath can feel even more sort of alien and a little bit difficult. But the Ujjayi breath is really, it's the ocean. So it's the ocean coming in and it's the ocean going out. And you can, if you're a visual person in your imagination, you can even kind of imagine like a little wave coming onto the beach and going out as you sort of breathe in and then release that. But just seeing if you can keep that slight tension there as you breathe in. And as I say, it might be quite difficult if this is the first time for you, but it's just that practicing. And if you need to breathe out with the mouth open occasionally, or doing half out and half closed on the out breath, half open and half closed, that's also completely fine. It's just seeing if you can keep that tension there a little bit and keep the noise. So we're going to just go for a few more breaths like that. Really remembering to keep the body upright and open. If you're laying down, the same thing, the spine is long, the belly is open, we're not slumping, we're not closing off, we're staying upright and open. Yeah? So whatever that feels for you, in the way that you might have a cushion behind your back, you might be sitting up in a chair, or you might be sitting up like me, whatever feels comfortable for you. Okay? So again, we're just going to start with that in-breath through the nose, but we're going to keep that sound if we can. Okay? So we're going to go in through the nose and out. In and out. In and out. Just see if you can keep going like that. Making that noise. It might not be very loud for you, and that's okay. Just a little bit of sound. Keeping the jaw relaxed. And the tongue away from the mouth, away from the roof of the mouth. I'm going to do 3 more like that. Whenever you come to the end of that last out breath, just slowly blinking the eyes open if they were closed or lowered. And just noticing how you feel, just noticing what that was like. And just remembering that each time you practice this breathing, you're strengthening that arm of the nervous system that keeps you calm and relaxed and connected, keeps your cognition fully online. And keeps everything moving really well. So it's that strengthening the vagus and not using this stressed out, anxious side of the nervous system, but strengthening the side that feels kind of content and connected. And that's that side that we want to get strong. So you practice as often as you can. Practice for a minute, 2 minutes, 20 minutes on the bus, on the train, anytime. It's all valid. It's all working out that vagal tone. And I will incorporate it in the future into other breathing techniques. It's quite a useful one to know. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you.